I'm Chef Susan Odell. Welcome to the Foodell Kitchen. If you're baking, sometimes recipes will call for whisked egg whites that you whisk up to stiff peaks. They help lighten souffles and delicious cakes. You can make meringue with it. It's a good technique to know and understand so that when it's called for, you can do it without any trouble. We can do it either by hand with a big whisk and a clean bowl or in the mixer, so let's have a look at both ways. If you want to whisk egg whites by hand, you need to consider a couple of things. First of all, you want a big balloon whisk, something with as big of a round end as possible. It's just going to make it easier for you. And you want a big bowl, bigger than you'd imagine. This is only 2 egg whites, but they're going to grow in volume. And the more space I have in my bowl, the easier it's going to be for me to whisk it up. I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt that tends to help stabilize the egg whites while I'm whisking. You want to make sure everything is very clean also. Any little bit of fat in the bowl or on my whisk is going to make it almost impossible for the egg whites to whisk, and that includes any leftover yolk. Be sure to watch the video on how to separate eggs so that you get all yolk out and you use even clean hands when you're doing it, and then we'll have a lot better success rate. So I've got my egg yolks in my bowl. The more egg whites you have, probably you want to start going to an automated contraption because it's going to get very tiring. 2, 3 maybe is fine, but more than that it's a little tricky. When you're whisking, you want to go to the bottom of the bowl and come up in a circular motion. You're going to keep doing that very quickly until the egg whites start to stiffen and become white. Be patient, it takes a couple minutes. You don't really have to get your whole body into the whisking motion, just your wrist is enough to make it happen. I like to lean the bowl a little bit on its side. It just makes it easier for me to really get under those egg whites and keep them moving. I've been whisking for about 3 minutes. This is my 2 egg white bowl, and you can tell they're really coming together nicely. Egg whites are done when they hold their shape. You see that beautiful little curl we have there? That means they're at stiff peaks, and we can go ahead and use them for our souffle or our cake or our meringue. If you over whisk egg whites, you're going to have some water in the bottom, and really the only way to fix that is to add another egg white and whisk just a little bit more. If you have a mixer, even a handheld mixer, it's a lot easier to do it this way. To use your whisk attachment and a nice clean bowl, and remember everything needs to be super clean with no fat. I've got 3 egg whites here. It's a little easier to whisk egg whites in an automated contraption, so I'll do 3. And again, I've got a little salt just to help the egg whites stay together. You always want to start egg whites on a low speed, and then as they start to whisk and come together, gradually increase the speed until they're done. Now remember, it's very easy to over whisk egg whites when it's in an electronic contraption because you're not sweating, you don't quite feel the pain. So we're just going to keep a close eye on it so they don't get over whisked or they just won't rise like they're supposed to. My egg whites start to get white and foamy, so I'm increasing the speed to almost high. And I'll just keep an eye on it now because they're going to come together really fast. My egg whites have been whisking away for a couple of minutes, and look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It looks like a Dairy Queen ice cream cone. And they're ready to use. You want to whisk egg whites just before you use them because they don't last long once you've whisked all that air into them. You hate to lose all of that aeration. These really are used as a leavening, meaning that they make things rise. Think souffle, or they make things light, like an angel food cake. You can also make meringue with it. Whatever you do with it, just be sure to use nice, clean egg whites, no fat, and clean equipment, and you'll be fine. And one more thing, egg whites whisk faster and better if they're at room temperature. So if possible, separate your eggs and then leave them out for about an hour, maybe half an hour at least, and they'll whisk up just like this. Bon appetit.